Hey everybody, this is Brandon, and I have a Yamaha V150 outboard motor here, and we are gonna take off the carbs and clean it up because I'm getting a very bad dead idle, and it's taken 200 yards to get brake on top. It's just choking itself out. So I've had it a year and a half, and I've never even touched the carbs or cleaned anything. So we're gonna soak them up, and just a real quick how-to. I see a lot of these videos, but nothing for this engine. Okay, so I have a Yamaha Pro V150 outboard engine here. It's on my Ranger. It's a 1994, and real quick, take down the carburetors, which I already have. So I disconnected the choke with just a little, it had a little wire holding it on, and I took out the links. You see the links and the throttle link and the choke link there. Really easy, don't even need a tool. Then I disconnected with 10 mil, these 4 bolts on each one, and the nuts, the nuts in the lock washer on each one, and pried them off one at a time, and then cut the fuel line one at a time. And of course, this is all after I drained the bowls on each one. There's 6 bowls, there's 6 drains, one on each side of these. And I'm gonna go ahead and take off this last one, and I already have the first 2 soaking. This was mineral spirits, and that was clear when I put it in, and there's a lot of sand and dirt and grime, and we're gonna let this soak 24 hours. I've always used mineral spirits for carbureted machinery, and when you soak it and let it dry for a day and then blow out the rest, it's like having a brand new carburetor. We're not messing with the jets, we're not messing with nothing. We're just letting it soak and go from there. Okay, so it's been 24 hours now. You can see the discolorization in the mineral spirits, and there is a bunch of debris at the bottom. We're gonna drain this out. Oh yeah, it's coming out pretty good in the bowls too. When I first drained the fuel, it was I wasn't getting the same out of each carburetor out of the bowls. And you should be able to test your bowls. You could hear them. I don't know if you can hear that. I can hear the bowls moving freely. We're gonna set that just the way they are. Oh yeah. Much better. I can hear the bowls moving around freely, which is a good sign. It freed up the bowls pretty good, and you know it got into the jets. The mineral spirits is clear when I put it in here. Yeah, I can hear it real good in there. So I'm gonna let this dry for a few hours, and then I'm gonna rotate them and let it dry for a few more hours, and then I'll tell you what, we'll start at the bottom. So I'll come out the bowl, and then we'll blow them out. And you can see the debris, all the stuff that was in bowls. Oh, look at all that. Now those bolts are the actual drain plugs for each bowl. Those bolts are. All right, 24-hour soak. So I did end up taking the bowls off. The screws are really loose, and I thought, well, let me go and clean out these rubber gaskets. And as you can tell, there's still a lot of scraping that needs to go on around these gaskets. You can see the gas that's corroded the gasket onto it. And here's the gasket. Once it dries, you can see all the stuff that's in there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and try to scrape it off. And you can see here it's dry in here. That's what it looks like some kind of barnacle, but I know it's from the gas. We'll clean these up and see if I can reuse the gasket. If not, I'll have to buy new. Okay, so I'm back and I've inspected the carburetors after I soaked, and come to find out that these gaskets, reusable, yes, but they're pretty corroded and probably been reused, probably the original. They are really bad. So I went ahead and bought a rebuild kit, and you can see the difference between a brand new one, okay, and the old one when it comes to corrosion and dented, and definitely when it comes to the idle, you know, anything leaking through here could definitely choke something out. I've cleaned off pretty good, as much as I could, scraping it a little bit with a brush. You know, you don't want to use any hard abrasive brushes. I used actually a razor blade a little bit, and just to get some crunches off. You can see little pieces right there like I got to get off still. So I bought 3 kits, rebuild kits from Yamaha, and you know, they come with a lot of stuff that I'm not going to use, but it's good to have things once you tear things apart and you realize, okay, let me go ahead and check the valve needles here on the floats, and you realize, okay, they're good, but let me go ahead and replace them. So I replaced them. They come with the kit. So now we're gonna rebuild each one of these, dry them out, and get it back together and get it back on the boat. Okay, so I got the last carburetor here, and I just want to do a short video on exactly what I'm doing. I'm going ahead and changing this top cover, okay, after it's all clean, and it's just this little paper gasket here. Then replace that by putting it on there, okay. I've already blown all the good stuff off of it, so it's nice and clean. And anything that I ever see that has a lock washer on it, I normally like to put a little bit of thread locker. Now this one I'm not gonna, but I am gonna on the bowl because they were very, very loose. I'm just gonna put a little bit of torque on that now, and I'll come back and tighten it. We're gonna put the bowls back in here, and as you can see, it's normally it's very, very clean to what it was. I mean, it kind of looks dirty, but to what it was, I mean, it was really bad. You can see along these edges here. I cleaned as much as I could, and then I, you know, Q-tipped them off. I blew them out, and you could definitely see there was little pieces of, I don't know what it was in here. It was pretty nasty. I'm glad I opened this up. So I almost should have opened it up before I soaked it just to see how bad it was. But everything looked pretty good. So I got the new gasket. Okay, we're going to go ahead and lay the new gasket on. Forgive me, I'm trying to hold my phone with one hand and do this with the other. So it just kind of lays on. We'll make sure everything lines up. You can see everything lines up real nice. You know, those holes, you want to make sure all the jets are open and available. And we're going to slowly add the bowl. Okay. Okay, and the key with the bowl, there really is none. But you get the new pin and you want to, it's kind of hard to do with one hand, but you want to get it started, okay, and then you don't want to damage the needle, okay. So there, trying to get it. Hang on a second, let me. Okay, so you don't want to damage the needle. You just want to push the bar in so it just holds it, holding the needle up out of the way. And there you go. So that's in there. You can see the needle, the valve right there. So as that floats up and down, it allows fuel to come back in and so forth. So that's pretty much it. Clean the cover off, and I'm going to put a little bit of red thread locker on here, and that'll be the third one. Here's the other two that I have with new gaskets that are going to go up against the intake there, and then it'll be ready to prime it up and fire it up. Okay, so in the manual here I got on my phone, you'll see that it says, you can see this. How am I going to get it turned right so you can see it? It'll tell you right here. I keep putting my finger in there and it keeps focusing on my finger, but I want it to focus on the camera. So you'll see at the bottom, and you can't see it, but that picture, the bottom, it's not focusing. It says measure the float height. It should be 0.61 of an inch, give or take 0.01 or 2. Okay, that's what I did not do, which I did at the end, and this was my problem from the get-go. Okay, so we're back at the installation of back into here, and you can see the old gaskets on here. And these old gaskets tell you a lot. You can kind of see what's going on with each carb, and where you're getting any kind of leakage or air or anything really. Especially you can tell in this one, this bottom left one here was leaking. Something was gooing out of it, and I want to say it was the bowl. Had a little leak around the bowl, and of course all that's fixed now. So we're going to get these installed. We're going to start with the bottom one, and we're going to pull it out, and then we'll put the fuel line back on it, and we'll zip tie it closed, and then we'll put it on, tighten it down. We'll go to the next one, pull it out, zip tie it on, bolt it back up till we get all three. I can't really do this as I go because I need both hands. So all right, let's get to work. So I got the bottom carb on. I went ahead and attached the choke back and the oil arm here that controls the flow of oil. It goes back to the pump, shoots it all through. So we got one on. It is complete finished. I like to do that, just one, whatever I took off of it, boom, and then whatever I took off the second one, third one, and then whatever I took off the entire setup. So all right, let's get. So we got all three carbs back on. I got all the linkage back on, the choke, the throttle linkage, everything exactly the way the picture was when I first took it. We're going to put the air box here on it and bolt it down with those bolts, and then we'll be able to crank it up, see how it works. There's no doubt in my mind that this isn't going to fix my problem. Alright, so we got it finished, and let's go ahead and crank her up. Got the choke open, water's on it, and let's give it a shot. Nice. I like that. Just pump the fuel in there, so make sure the bulb's got plenty of fuel. Probably flood it a little bit. Go ahead and open the throttle on it. Get a little air in there. Give it a little gas. See it pouring out of there? What just made that happen? It just poured out of there. Of that hole right there. Okay, so I'm adding this video in between the two videos that you're watching that's getting ready to play now. The fuel that was pouring out of that middle hole, come to find out, the float level was wrong, and I talk about that at the end of the video. So we took it off, and we measured the float level, and it was 1/4 of an inch off. So it was hanging, it was floating and touching the body, but yet was not closing off the valve. So yet the float was all the way up, the valve was still open, and it was letting all this fuel being vacuumed in to the carburetor, which was then flooding everything. So you saw that, and now you're getting ready to see it crank up with the carburetor fixed. Like it's on now. Gentlemen, now that I got this fixed, I did some weird stuff here. Okay, so this middle carburetor, and I'll attach the video to this, it started bleeding out this hole right here constantly. Well, we took it apart and adjusted the float level, was off 0.21 of an inch. That's almost 1/4 of an inch, the float level. So to me, that means the float was floating and the valve was staying open, and all the fuel was coming through there and flooding it. That's exactly what was happening. I started it, runs at 750 RPM, exactly what it's supposed to be. I am very happy. I hope you can learn from this. I hope someone learned something, because I sure have. I got dirt all over me. I've learned a lot today. This is my first outboard, and I just looked at the manual. Take it easy, man. Happy boating.